Hi, I'm Devina, and I'm an IDEX fellow for the January 2015 cohort. IDEX placed me at Fairtrade because I selected community and economic development, and I designed a campaign called "Show Your Label" at IDEX for the IDEX portfolio project. Show Your Label was a social media campaign that was designed to support Fashion Revolution Day. Fashion Revolution Day is celebrated on 24th April to mark the collapse of Rana Plaza in Dhaka. Rana Plaza was a nine-story building that housed some of the biggest brands, and it had garment industries that ran the supply chain for brands like Primark, Mango, and this was also a building where a lot of banks and other institutions were placed. A few days before the event, there were these major cracks that were seen on the building, and the government workers were forced to work even when the banks and the other institutions were stuck. There are statements recorded about them being beaten up and thrown into going to work that day. The building collapsed, killing 1,100 people and injured more than 2,500. And I'm not talking about minor injuries. I'm talking about people losing limbs and legs and not being able to work again. So, Fashion Revolution basically talks about the catastrophic disasters in the fashion industries. It says that enough is enough. It's a call for ethical fashion for black brands to clean up their act. While Fairtrade has been working with farmers in India for the past 20 years, Fairtrade India as an institution is very new, and we are still at the stage of raising awareness about what Fairtrade does for social major concerns. My clothes exploited. So when we designed the campaign, it was basically for the farmers of India. We are right now going through a crisis in India with farmers committing suicide all the time. The UN reports actually shows that between 1995 to 2006, one farmer committed suicide every half an hour. And I honestly don't see how this is not an issue and we're not doing something about it. So I designed this campaign called Show Your Label to support Fashion Revolution, where people wear their clothes inside out, show their label, and ask their brands who grew my clothes. So this campaign was a 10-day campaign on social media, but it managed to raise a lot of awareness, and I'm going to share some simple tips on how I did this. So I honestly believe that the next fashion revolution will be tweeted. I think that social media has a huge role to play in campaigning. And my social media campaign strategy was just to come up with communication in a few words that explains what the event is to people. So I came up with these three rules of starting to raise awareness among people about the fact that farmers are committing suicide, give them a small thing to do to ensure engagement, and the social media strategy that was written down for communication was written down 25 times because we copied the Upworthy 25 communication guidelines, where it says that when you write things down 25 times, you basically come down, because when you're planning an event, you basically take a few things for granted, a few communications which you think everybody would know. So it's the best thing to do is to write it down 25 times. We scheduled Facebook posts 2 times a day because you do not also want too many posts come, too many notifications, because then you draw away engagement and people do not see it. So we schedule the post at 5:30 in the evening when people are relatively free, and it's generally the break time at corporate offices, and people check their phones. And the other time that we selected was 8:30 in the morning, because that's when people wake up and the first thing they do is check their phones. Facebook event posts can be scheduled on the Facebook main pages, but it's relatively difficult on the event page. So it's nice to have like a list of posts ready and things that can go up. I'd suggest that you keep the Facebook post between 30 to 50 words and have graphic images. So we use different communications for Twitter and Facebook. For Facebook, we printed these plug cards and we had 4 people standing together, and they were holding these banners. On the just one second. On the other on the other end, we had for Twitter, we came up with this do not know. So the illustrations work better on Twitter. The social media campaign ran for 11 days, and it managed to raise awareness at a huge scale. I think we didn't see it coming. We reached out to 11 of the biggest newspapers in the country, including Times of India. Vogue and Elle did stories on us. We also came with a media strategy for communications. On print. We wanted different stories for different people and came up with different press releases for fashion magazines like Vogue and Elle. In another state in India, we came up with 6 fashion designers talking about ethical fashion. The Show Your Label made the event page gathered a lot of interest. Out of 2,000 people that visited our page, 359 were engaged, which shows a 19% engagement, which is very which is a very good turnout if 1 out of 5 people relate to your cause. We had 60% increase in our page likes. Earlier, we used to get about 8 page likes a week, and we reached up to 117 new people on our fair trade page, and we never diverted the people to the Facebook page, but it happened organically, which obviously counts for more than paid advertising. We had a Twitter chat with Amrita Bose who's one of the culture and fashion journalists, and her the Twitter chat gained a lot of interest, and we had about 30 new followers on our Twitter page as well. We reached out to a lot of prominent journalists who wrote a lot about our campaign. So what this comes to show is that when you have a social problem and you want to engage a crowd who would otherwise not care about it, the best way to go through to those people is social media, because we all are on social media for a few hours a day every day, and it just engages people in the small amount of time where they can do something very little, but it reaches out to a lot of people. So a lot of people came back to me actually and said, we put up a picture, now what? But you'd be surprised to know that the brands actually started responding to these people on Twitter on we are sustainable and this is what we do. But that again, that is what you need when you start a campaign, when brands come up with initial conversations, and then you can go back to the brand and go, okay, you use sustainable fabric, but how about social responsibility? Do you pay your farmers well? Because for every 900 rupee t-shirt that we buy, 4 rupees goes back to the farmer, which is a very small share out of the price of the t-shirt. So this just goes to show that our fashion supply chains are so unethical, and I think we managed to raise awareness about this through this campaign. Another very important part about what we did at this with this campaign was we started this Snapchat series where we took our own pictures and did a hashtag who grew our clothes. Then I noticed other friends telling me that their friends are also doing it. So social media can spread a message in fabulous ways, and it's a very good tool for communication. So the only amount of money that we spent in this whole campaign was 2,834 rupees, which is less than $50. And this was only to print the placards of the people who were holding for photo shoot. And the rest of all our Facebook likes, Twitter chat, Twitter subscriptions on our Twitter page were all organic. And it has actually led to a series of campaigns that we are planning through social media right now with what do I wear, when people will be holding empty hangers and tagging the brands again to ask them that nothing in my cupboard is ethical. So another fact about farming rice in India is that 5% in India these are given to the farmers free and then the farmers start using them over the next period. They use them and they get really good produce, but they end up harming the soil and they do not get the same produce in the next couple of years, which has led to a lot of farming suicides. And when India is the second largest producer and consumer of cotton in the world, farmers are still committing suicide, which I think is a huge issue right now. And the only solution to this is to raise awareness among people to understand that there needs to be a change, there needs to be a consumer movement. The pressure has to come from the consumer for the brands to understand that enough is enough. We need sustainable supply chains, we need ethical fashion. And I honestly believe that when you can mobilize a group of people to believe that something is unacceptable, is when you start the movement. And Show Your Label has done that for fair trade. Fair trade is a relatively new concept in India, and people do not understand um, the need to buy products that are fair trade certified. And I think, especially with fashion, we just wear what looks good. We do not really pay attention to where it really comes from. So, Show Your Label essentially did that for us. Um, We've also used a lot of visual tools throughout the campaign. The photo shoot that we took with people holding the plug cards did really well. Most of our retweets were around facts, and facts do really well on Twitter. Another important thing to do while you prepare a social media strategy is to list and what you want to achieve at the end of it, because these are only tools to encourage people to do something and like do a survey, get content that inspires people, but it is not it's not a direct call to action. But getting people to do something, really helps. Greenpeace had once put up this little thing on social media saying, what do you think about a campaign? And that's also a great strategy to know which direction you're going in. And I think the minute your page likes reduce to less than 4 a day is when you need to shift off to from your existing social media strategy to something else. Also, if you have a lot of unfollowing because of a post, it's very important to go back and see why people are drawing away from the content of your page and what is it that they're not liking. I would suggest that whenever anybody with a set of social media, suggest that you select photos if you're downloading it from the internet from links of sources and not just images to avoid copyright issues. And Concluding this, I'd just like to tell you all that what social media can do in today's day and age is beyond comprehension. And I am again going to say this because I really believe it, that the next revolution will be tweeted. The minute any information goes out in the world today, it's on Twitter. And I think it's a great forum to mobilize people to do a small action, to raise awareness, and to get people to believe. The page lives do not count for anything if you do not get people to start thinking another way. And the only way you can get them to understand a social issue or a crisis is by going to them and telling them that, look, this is happening, and all you need to do is wear your clothes inside out for a day. And I walked around to on Bangalore wearing all my clothes inside out everywhere, and it was people came up to me and asked me, what are you doing and what is this about? And you can't imagine one little action and how much awareness you can raise through these platforms. And I'm honestly very happy that this happened, because this is why I'm going to be staying back in fair trade and taking the cotton campaign forward. And I hope whatever this hangout had to say helps you all in planning your future campaigns. And thank you for watching.